All right, so this is a cool way that producers can use Notion as a tool to help you organize your creative business. Like many producers, I'm sure if you're a producer, you have a bunch of ideas that you've worked on that you start. This is my list. And they're just ideas. And if you're like me, you probably name them random things like this is a date with a BPM. I have no idea what song this is. And I forget about songs that I end up having. So this is one that I opened up and I started October 30th, 2022. Frame of reference, today is January 28th, 2023. So this is 3 months old. And so as I'm working on songs for artists or just continuing to work, sometimes it's good to be able to go back and see what something is. And so found this, I liked it. I'm not sure if you guys are here when I press play, but so obviously really good sample, but it's far from complete. As you can see, it's a 4-bar loop and just have like placement drums in there, but something that I would love to finish. And so what I did is I created a Notion board. I just did a simple board database, and I have a few headers. So file name, file preview. I put whether there's a sample, I put the sample name, and I put the sample source. And so with those things in place, I now can, and I put the BPM, and I put some tags, and I'll probably also add, actually I can do this right now, place for notes, where I can maybe put like, hey, this working on this or whatever it is, just something for a frame of reference. And so what I'll do for this new one is when I go back and forth, I know it's 10/30/22, which again is a random date, but I'll just save that loop. I have a folder somewhere called instrumental previews, and then I'll usually copy it in this stage, and I'm saving. That's not what I want to do. That's why I want to export. Sorry. So I'm going to export the loop in my instrumental previews. I'll copy the name here so that it matches. So I've now saved it in my hard drive, and I'm going to name it here so that if I ever want to go back and listen to it or find it, I know what it's called. I know that it has a sample, and then for sample name, I usually keep my sample names in the location. So now I can just copy and paste that. So good tip for producers, usually keep the sample name. And then I have whether it's TrackLib or not. I use TrackLib for my samples because I can clear them. So what I'll do is, so I found it, meaning I know it's a TrackLib sample, which is great for me. That means that when somebody wants to use this record, I know I can clear it. And I could add additional levels. So like if I click on TrackLib, I can see if it's a license C, B, or A, which also affects the price of the record. So if someone, wants to pay an upfront for the record, I know what my cost is. I'll put the tempo in. And the reason I'll do that, I usually save it here, but it's also obviously in my DAW 90 BPM, is if somebody reaches out and says, hey, I'm looking for something with this feel, I can quickly just look at and filter by tempo. And then the last piece, which this is where like the organization comes in, is I'll save it in my Google Drive. And I usually just save a snippet of it because I just need to preview it really. And then I'll copy this link, make it anyone with link can see it. And then I'll paste that link here. And so what that does now is if someone's like, oh man, I need a record, not only am I kind of organizing of all my ideas, these are ideas that I like and I know have some potential. But if I wanted to very quickly, I could click in and get a preview in Google, which works on all of my devices. Press play. And so with that, now I know that the Google file is this here, or I know that it's listed this here. If I'm ever looking for that file when I come to Reason or whatever your DAW is, you can just search your computer or search your DAW for that file and find it quickly. So now instead of looking through hundreds of songs and hundreds of ideas to figure out what's what, I can literally just use this catalog internally here. It's just kind of like a reference. This is my final catalog. This is more an internal document or internal database, but just a cool way that I use Notion. It took me less than 30 seconds to create this board. And it's something that I will use moving forward. Hopefully that's helpful. If you need help setting up your Notion database or board, hit me up in the community and I can walk you through it.